Welcome back, everyone. Talking to Albert, and I want to bring David Blumen into the discussion. And David, you heard Albert's story, very compelling, but you've worked as a personal trainer, and I want to bring up the topic of how does physical fitness in sports make a difference with people with disabilities, in your opinion?
Albert and I were speaking earlier, and you mentioned it to me as well, that he had been athletic and very active earlier on prior to his blindness, and I had, even in my martial arts background, I watched my instructors work with people in wheelchairs in every other way. So it's by providing the environment for them without thinking about limitations.
Right.
I used to work with a lot of the people that came in, and even my senior population now. It's really keeping that positive attitude about that can do. They can.
Yep.
And that's something that I think is missing. I remember when I worked in one of the facilities, and I had a guy who came in. He had the knee replacement and a hip replacement, and he had just finished seed implant for prostate cancer and a single bypass. And every trainer in there went. It just takes doing your homework and preparing and saying, hey, it's just a progression for them and giving them an opportunity. And I shared another story with Albert when I was a young man, a young boy. My best friend's uncle was blind, and we used to take him out and ride on a tandem bike. Mm-hmm. So we didn't limit him because of a disability per se. We gave him opportunities to continue to be fit and healthy and enjoy all the things in life that that we as normal seeing or lack of disability, for a better term, that they're able to enjoy those things, and we can share them with them.
Albert, talk about your experience being involved in sports even today.
Well, it's interesting, Howie, is that we always, one of the things that I like where David was going with all of that is he looks at the ability. We don't have to be labeled as disabled, because that's disrespectful. Let's take the dis out of it. Everybody's very able to do certain things within their own time frames, within their own sense of ability or desire. But I've run into a lot of problems. I used to work out quite a bit before I lost my eyesight, and it's a very interesting consideration trying to walk into a gym with people who don't think a person who's blind or a person who has a disability should be there. My friend Andy Chiapetta, who lives up in New Rochelle, is just working out now, and she's been going to the gym quite regularly, and she showed them at the gym what it is like to be blind and still be very able to lift weights, ride the treadmill, and do things. It's a matter of just letting people know that, if I'm in a wheelchair, I still want to have upper body strength to be able to move myself in and out of the chair. If I'm blind, I want to be able to have the ability to keep the balance. I work with my Tai Chi instructor, Stephen Lee, quite a bit. And, that's one of the things that when David talked about martial arts, there's an inner balance, both spiritually and physically, that these type of recreational activities and exercises can bring to a disabled person.
Absolutely. And I mentioned to you early in the day that, a monumental thing happened with people with disabilities. There's an all-deaf college called Gallaudet University, where all the students, all the professors are all deaf, and they compete in collegiate sports. And for the first time in the history of the school, one of their teams, their college football team, qualified for the NCAA playoffs, and they won 9 games. Now, this is an all-deaf football team competing against regular colleges. They won 9 games, and even though they lost the game, what an amazing accomplishment for these kids.
Well, you see, that's also, if I may, one of the things, and one of the things I'm hoping to try and shift is that social paradigm that needs to shift is that is their normal. Just because they don't hear doesn't mean they're not normal. So it's a matter of understanding that people of all abilities, as long as they have access to the right tools, they can promote ability, and it restores infinite possibilities to people.
Absolutely, and there was we were doing a radio show in Long Beach, and we met one of the Long Beach Gladiators over the summer. A kid was wrestling with no legs.
Yep.
And there was a wrestler years ago here in Suffolk County named Rohan Murphy who finished second in the county with no legs. So It shows you can accomplish great things with disabilities.
Yep. And there's a lot of what is making that possible. And I must take my hats off to our wounded warriors, the men and women who served our country and came back with a degree of a disability, whether it's PTSD or any other physical limitation or sensory loss. They are a different set of disabled people than there were in the past. They're all young kids. They're all in their 19s, 20s, whatever, early 30s. But they're all coming back wanting to live a full life. And they are redefining what it means to be able-bodied with a perceived limitation or perceived disability.
That's awesome. All right, that's great. We're gonna stay right there. We're gonna bring Albert back later in the show. But now I want to bring on Stryker.